Welcome, everybody. We're Jeff and Christine, intuitive transformation guides and creators of Inspire Beyond. You can find out more about us and what our services are on our website, inspirebeyond.com.
Our podcast is a gathering space for conscious conversations and meaningful exploration. In these episodes, we share real stories, meaningful tools, and fresh perspectives to support us all on the path to freedom as we navigate a rapidly changing world together.
So, thank you for joining us today. Your presence, your voice, and your unique journey truly matters here. Let's dive into today's conversation. Today, we're talking about what it really means to be embodied and why it matters for freedom.
And before we dive in, we want to welcome our guest, Lou Lachman. And she's a somatic practitioner and trauma healing guide who's going to tell us a little bit more about her background in a minute here. And we're really excited to connect with her today. We actually connected with Lou with someone else that we know since starting the podcast. And so it's great to see these connections and collaborations are already starting. So welcome, Lou. It's good to have you here.
Thank you. I'm really, really glad to be here.
Can you tell us a little bit about your background?
Professionally, I was a Buddhist psychology-based psychotherapist, and then I got into energy work, and really it's been a path of healing for myself. And then personally, I was raised in a cult, and so I was quite dissociated and had quite intense emotions for a long time. So the therapeutic work really helped me, but the energy work helped me more.
Mm. Can you tell us a little bit more about your cult background?
Well, it was a human development cult
Mhm.
called the Institute of Cultural Affairs, and they had projects internationally in villages and towns, and so I was always living in impoverished areas. So that for me that meant Black and brown areas. That's not always true. Sometimes it was a deprived white area, but my life was in Black and brown areas, and yeah, so I was kind of the queer white kid and in this crazy religious cult, so, and it was always in a group setting. There were always a group of families living together. So I guess in terms of community, I've seen a lot of dysfunction.
Yeah, we're definitely going to talk about community a little bit later.
Okay.
Yeah, so I don't know. Did you want to have any questions?
I do have a question or two here about, you've given us a little bit of the experience. When did you start to realize that your body was part of the healing? In other words, being in this cult, and how did that actually, how did it affect you and that sort of journey?
Jeff, it actually took me decades. Like when I was a kid, I didn't realize that I was terrified. I just thought that I was fine because as children, you just get on with it. So because there was abuse and neglect, and the focus of the community was on the mission. It wasn't on the children. We had a rotation of carers. So I just thought I was spacey and overwhelmed. I didn't know I was dissociated and having a trauma response, that it was all a trauma response. And until I learned I had a bridge into my body with energy practices and awareness, right? Because it was only when my body could calm down when I did something that I could actually listen to it.
Interesting.
And I didn't know there was a way to calm it down before that. And my psychotherapy training did not teach me that.
That is interesting.
It's really interesting. And all the Buddhist practice in the world didn't teach me that key, that
Wow.
actually there's things you can do to calm your body and to connect you to yourself.
Yeah.
You can meditate so that you can be aware, so that you can be present.
Yeah, it's incredible to me because I think so many of us grow up and that's what we know. We don't know anything different. So
Right.
if we aren't connected to our bodies, it feels normal. And well, we come to a point, and I think most of us come to a point where it's like something's wrong here.
It's very much this society. There's
Yeah.
there's a division of church and state. There's a division, there's a division of capital and colonialism, as though capitalism and colonialism aren't the same thing, and they are. And they are about that division,
Mhm.
If you really have spirit and humanity, then you have care for people. If you
Yes.
just have capitalism, there's a disconnect. And
Yeah.
individualism, then there's no collective, there's no care for the collective.
I would venture to say there's no heart.
Right.
It's
Right.
all
There's
about.
a disconnection from heart.
Mhm. Mhm.
So, yeah. colonialism kind of started with that division. You know, that's
Yeah.
when women got it in the neck, black and brown people got it in the neck, and white guys got, you know, what, more power and more disconnection. It's
Yeah.
actually a really
Mm.
sad story.
It's sad for everybody
Yeah,
all around.
everybody
Nobody,
loses.
yeah, everyone loses.
Yeah, and it sounds like this social conditioning, of course, played a big role.
Mhm.
I mean, in just being able to get in touch with your body and
Mhm.
being told what to do. You know, social conditioning too has a role. It plays a role in how we react.
Yeah, I mean, we're tackling a really big issue here.
Yeah. Well, the group mind is really powerful. We live in a society that values, you know, science and studies and prove it and doesn't value, oh, I have this felt sense. Oh, I don't feel so good in this space.
Mhm.
Mm.
It doesn't give that credibility, and that's not okay. Actually, we are very sensitive, very spiritual, very energetic beings. And if
Mhm.
we don't honor that because our society says you shouldn't honor that, then
Mhm.
that energy of what I should do starts to taint everything.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, exactly. We've been living in this kind of situation for many, many years.
Yeah.
Before we get in, because we really want to get into some of the amazing tools and practices and things that you utilize in your practice and for yourself personally, but I wanted to kind of rewind a little bit and talk about trauma. Because
Okay.
I think there's a lot of people who, when they hear the word trauma, they think of car accident, rape, these big events. But the kind of trauma I think that's the most pervasive and unrecognized is this idea of this ongoing, repeated, subtle relationship wounding, like emotional neglect, abandonment,
Yeah.
chronic criticism, unpredictable caretakers, being burdened with responsibilities as a child that you shouldn't have to be burdened with, and we can go on, but this is the thing it's unseen, but it's
Mhm.
so prevalent in our society. And are you
Okay.
dealing are you dealing mostly with people with that kind of thing? Like we're talking about complex PTSD?
I wouldn't say mostly. I would
Okay.
say part of my clientele is complex PTSD.
Okay.
Mm.
Probably the longer term clients are complex PTSD with, you know, a mentally ill parent or a parent that's deliberately abusive
Mhm.
and puts their child in harm's way. You know, those clients stay with me for many, many years.
Mhm.
But I also facilitate circles. And I think even though I grew up in a cult and would say that communities can be incredibly toxic, we do heal together and we do need each other. And after 30 years of working with people therapeutically, I just know that it's so much more powerful to work in circle and it's not as
Mhm.
powerful to work individually. So
Mhm.
we need each other. We need that reflection. We need to see each other healing, and that gives us healing too. So, yeah.
That's beautiful.
It sounds a lot like community.
It's yeah. Yeah. You have to any circle has to be really well held because
Right.
if that person doesn't bring the awareness of kindness, curiosity, and have the right tools to calm down the system and support the group
Mhm.
and support each person in their healing, then they can't really heal together.
So what would you say are like the most important elements of having like a safe community or a safe circle?
I think it's the ground rules and the agreements
Mm.
and um, focusing on inner healing. Like each person has the responsibility not just to hold space for other people
Mhm.
and listen to that healing, but to do their own inner work in the midst of that
Mm.
healing too. Really that personal journey,
Yeah.
even while it's a collective one.
Yeah, that's beautiful. I would add in that it's really essential for community or healing type of circles to allow people to express their own views
Yes.
and to agree to disagree. Because I think that's
Yes.
one of the most toxic things. If you can't do that and be open and curious about other people's viewpoints and allow them to be themselves, I think there's really no chance for safety
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
authenticity.
I would say that my circles tend to have people who have experienced a lot of therapy and
Okay.
then are still struggling.
Uh-huh.
And they usually have an awareness practice, or my last circle had a Christian in it as well. I think it's making space for our uniqueness. We're all unique in the way that we come to our journey and that we come to this life, and we need to make space for that.
Yeah,
Because
and to be authentic
right.
through all of that. So, Lou, what tends to happen in the body and the mind when we've lived through that kind of chronic overwhelm that you explained? I mean,
Yeah.
what happens?
Well, the body kind of shuts down a bit, right? So it goes into the fight, flight, freeze, fawn,
Mhm.
right?
Yep.
And the reptilian brain, which is why I put my hand back here, instead of the frontal lobe. This is where our thinking is. And when
Yeah,
we do that, we're in survival. So we're not thinking about what's the right thing here. We're thinking, how do I make this person happy? So I recovered from that because I didn't have anyone listening or checking in on me when I was a child. So I just did what they needed me to do, what they wanted me to do. And that's a really normal response to trauma. And then we wonder why we agree to things that we don't want to do in relationship. But actually, if we didn't have a blueprint for you get to disagree, then we don't know how. We
Yeah.
don't know how. And the fawn or the freeze is the safety place. So
Yeah.
that's what we do.
And it's so understandable. It's a survival tool.
It
And
is.
I think, so many kids, if they didn't go into those survival tools, they'd be a lot worse off,
Right.
probably, you
Right.
know?
Right. The other thing is we need them. Like we need them. And that's the thing that I want people to realize is that everything in your body, everything it's trying to say is wisdom and a part of you
mm,
trying to protect you. And if you don't listen, it will just need to scream louder.
mhm,
So find a bridge, find a way to listen. And when you do that, then you can tolerate as big as it needs to get, as much as it needs to tell you. And once it can do that, then it can find its way out. But it can't do that without you really hearing it.
That's beautiful. So, do you have any suggestions? I think there's so many people that don't even realize it that are so in their head and they've disconnected to their heart. Do you have any suggestions on how to get down more in your heart?
how do you get there?
Well, actually, our bodies, like in relationship to humans, if you
Mm,
have a child who's really upset, you're gonna want to hold them, aren't you?
mhm,
Right? We're the same. And even though we don't maybe have parents anymore that can hold us in that way, we can do it, right? So you hold your heart, or you hold where it hurts. You respond to that place. And
mhm.
you tell that body that it'll be okay and that you're okay now and that you're not in that situation, whatever. And listen to what it says back. What do you need, babe? What do
Mhm,
you need me to do? And try to respond to what it says,
mhm,
right? And I'd
mhm.
say that throughout, like whether it's doing a practice within you or you're in a particular situation, how do you honor how you feel about it? It's really
Mm,
important how you feel about it. It's not just, oh, that's just my perception. I need to just,
mhm.
bottle it and pretend it's fine and it'll all be fine. I have to do this. A lot of times we don't have to do it.
Yeah.
You're hanging out with someone, you don't feel safe for whatever reason. Hey, I'm sorry, I need to go right now. Come back later. It might be you can work that through, but maybe not when you're triggered in that way where you
Mhm.
don't feel unsafe. The conversation's not going to go great when you're feeling unsafe anyway. So maybe, give yourself some space.
I
It's
love
that
that.
honor.
It seems to me that it sort of starts with awareness, just tuning into your body.
It
Like
does.
I've noticed in the past, I'm just thinking way back past, there were certain
Sure.
situations that I was in that I would actually stop breathing. I'd be breathing very shallow
Yeah.
and wouldn't even notice it until
Yeah.
afterwards. And it's like I'm tense and stressed and just totally clueless until afterwards. And
Mm.
so just learning how to be sensitive to what your body's telling you and honor it.
Yeah.
Something's going on here. Why
Yeah.
do I feel like I can't breathe right now?
Mhm.
Yeah. And sometimes you don't know the answer because
Yeah.
it's a young part of you. I had this one experience where I was standing at my kitchen sink and there was nothing going on that I could attribute this feeling to, but I had this kind of shaking inside. And I was just like, well, what do you do? So I just put my hands on my chest and I was just like, hey, babe, we're okay. We're
Mhm.
actually safe right now. And it all calmed down. And I just thought, just listen, respect, reassure, be kind. Like
I love that.
I know it's not easy for people. I know because I've been there, but it is essential if you want to be present. And it is essential if you want to be embodied. You do need to honor how you feel and not skirt over it and ignore it.
Right.
And it does get more subtle as I mean, certainly with the tools I use, you clear things. I call it clearing because you completely clear it so it feels gone. And you need to be able to do that sometimes so that it keeps getting lighter. But that doesn't mean that something similar you might not go round that kind of spiral and come to something similar. But it won't be
Yeah.
the same thing, which is good.
Yeah. One thing you mentioned that really kind of resonated with me right now or struck me as like, huh, let's pause on this one, is you said that you were sort of shaky and you didn't know why.
Yes, I had no idea. There
And
was nothing.
you didn't need to know why.
No,
You
I
needed to
didn't.
figure it
I
out.
just needed to be respectful and caring, right? It is really like the whole internal family systems. We've got a whole bunch of kids in there who are
Yeah.
scared for whatever reason, and we don't necessarily understand.
Yeah.
And I'd been
And
doing decades of work at that point. It's
yeah.
only a few years ago.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I think that's also important to mention that, you've been doing all this work. And I think a lot of us who are watching the podcast have been doing a lot of work,
Yeah.
but things still come up. And
Yeah.
so a question is like, does it ever end? Does there ever get to be a point where you're done healing?
Christine, I really think you need to think of the spiral, right? So you keep moving on, but it might look the same sometimes. I don't think it ever is. I think we're always moving on. So yeah, it's a journey. Yeah, I still have memory of the child that I was,
Sure.
or the young adult that I was, or, the 40-year-old that I was. But I think it is about that clearing, like,
Mhm.
so that I really release that
Mhm.
and move on to a different place.
Mhm.
And I think that's the thing is people don't always have the tools or know how to create that clearing.
Yeah.
So in my work, I just try to cover everything, so that people have all of those stages, that they're doing kind of a lightening to address things that are going on for them. Then they're doing, beliefs and putting in new beliefs and working with parts. And then they're doing ancestral stuff and vision. And how do they step into vision? And what are those sabotage patterns they need to understand or release? So
Mhm.
that they really can, step into because we need light workers. We
Yeah.
need everybody so badly right now. We need, that our world is burning kind of literally and figuratively.
Yeah.
And so we need community. We need people to really support each other and change the world. And
Yeah.
we have magic going on too, don't get me
Right.
wrong.
Right. So
And
one
it's quite extreme, the things that are happening right now.
correct.
It
Yeah.
is.
One thing that
Yeah.
struck me when you were talking about taking a moment for yourself, that's this self-nurturing, this self-caring. And a lot
Yeah.
of people don't know how important that is, or they don't even know that it exists, or they don't know how to do that. And it's really
Yeah.
just what you said.
Yeah.
You just say it's okay, babe.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
put your hand over your heart and it's okay. And it's very powerful.
And then you listen,
Yes.
Yes.
you know, and you listen. What's it doing now? What does it want? What does it need? Oh,
Yeah.
I think I'm a bit cold. Maybe I'll put a jacket on.
Mhm.
I it can be so subtle, but it's quite important. And I mean,
Mhm.
this is coming from someone I had no idea what I wanted. There was no point. Nobody cared what I wanted. Didn't matter. So, right? So it's a
Yeah.
muscle that I'm still growing. I'm
Yeah.
still growing that muscle.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty good with the body and how what the body needs.
Okay. So question for you, Lou.
Yeah.
So when you have been disconnected for so long from your body,
Hmm.
do you have any thoughts or suggestions on how to really rebuild trust in your body? Because I think a lot of times when you're disconnected, your body starts doing things that, gets sick or chronic issues. And there's a sort of an enemy type relationship with your body. Oh, my darn body, this or that. Any thoughts or suggestions on how to really cultivate that trust relationship with your body?
So many. I have so much to say. I thought you'd never ask, Christine, honestly. So you're starting with the honoring, right? That's a big thing, right? Your body is your younger parts and your history. And chronic illness is an expression of that history and an expression of not being heard, right? So you start with listening and you start with really honoring and what does my body need and what are the things I need to do to feel well? Well, actually, I need 10 hours of sleep a night. Oh, well, I guess you better get them, right? So how do you prioritize your health and you? People can't always do that. They don't always have that option in life. And if that's what they need to figure out how. Because actually, you're important and your life is important.
Yes.
And that's when the body can settle, just like a dog. You feed a dog, you give it a walk, dog's happy. The dog has the things that it needs, has some attention, has some care, then it's happy, right? Children, the same. We're sentient beings, all of us on this planet, and we need that care. Like otters hold hands when they sleep, right?
Oh, I didn't know
Bees,
that.
bees,
That's a fun
bees
fact.
sleep together in flowers. Like it just we're we're I think we're all everything on this planet is sentient in some way, and how do we honor our journey, right? And I think we are interconnected, but it starts with honoring your own journey and being able to be embodied. Because if you're not embodied, then it's harder for you to be there for anyone else, right? Because you
Uh,
just don't have the clarity to be able to be present.
Can you tell us what it looks like when you're not embodied? Like, what are sort of the signs or the tips that, like, hey, you might not be embodied?
Yeah, yeah. I think it is swinging between the intense emotion and the numbness, right?
Mhm.
That tells you because it's like a drug. The numbness is like a drug
Yep.
that happens to you. You don't necessarily have control over it. And then you swing to the intense emotions when something happens. Doesn't mean that whatever that thing isn't upsetting. And if you were present the whole time, you wouldn't have the swing. So you wouldn't need to have the numbness and you wouldn't have such intensity. So it really is about alignment, right? So energetic alignment, doing the work to be present and honoring yourself and your journey. What is it I need? What's my body telling me? What's my path? A lot of us, we know what our vision is. We know where we're supposed to be, but we don't necessarily step into it. And that's about trauma, and that's about fear, and that's about a lack of embodiment and
Yeah.
staying in that fear.
Mm.
Yeah.
Uh, so you've worked with a lot of folks,
Yes.
and there's a lot of tools that you've been trained and are training those. Could you share just a brief story that when you saw a shift that either happened in you or a client? And like I said, you've had a lot of people you've helped a lot, but is there something that sticks out?
A lot of therapists and practitioners will use their clients as examples. I don't think that's okay. So I'm not going to use my clients as an example. So, when I was younger, I had a small family that was falling apart, and I was in pieces because the relationship I had with my partner, held me together. It created stability and stuff that I needed that I'd never had as a kid. So it was really important to me, and it was over. So I actually called my mom on the phone and talked to my mom and said, "Hey, this is happening." And she told me this crazy tapping practice. And I was just like, "Really, mom?" But I didn't say that because I needed her help. I had to try anything. I had to figure out how to, get off, of- off of the ground in a puddle and stand again and be there for my kids. Right. So I just followed what she said and tapped through some points for a while I was talking to her, and then suddenly I wasn't in a puddle on the floor anymore. I'm not saying my life was fixed, but it's about alignment. It really
Oh,
is. When we
yes.
have alignment, everything gets easier. It really is about that.
Want to talk more about alignment? Alignment means what? You're in your body.
Well, alignment is that clearing, I think.
Okay.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And I think we've all felt it, at
Mhm.
different times. Do an
Yeah.
amazing yoga routine, Tai Chi routine, have a walk in the woods. You are like present, alive, vibrant.
Yeah.
But when we're talking about trauma, it's that clearing. Like
Mhm.
I feel clear about that.
Yeah.
Am I happy about it? Maybe not, but I feel clear about it. I feel at ease about it, right? That's different from that angst and emotional pain and being all tight, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And your body feels that ease, right? So
Yes.
that's what I'm talking about.
Okay. That's great. Good clarification. Beautiful. So, do you want to talk a little bit about some of the things that you offer that maybe there might be some people in our audience that are watching that might be interested in working with you? Maybe talk about a circle, or you've got something coming up in December.
I've got a circle and I've got an introductory workshop in December too. I think it's just important that people, if you resonate with what I'm saying, get in touch. I do free intro sessions, and your freedom is now. Like your embodiment is now. Your life is now. And if you're suffering, then I want to speak to you because I want as many hearts I can change. That's what I want. I want as many free people on this planet as I can make happen. So I'm totally up for it.
That is beautiful, and we will have the links down below. But you say your freedom is now, and I think this idea of that's one of the things that happens with trauma. We get so pulled into the past, and we're afraid of the future that
Yeah.
we can't be here present now. So I
Yeah.
think as we're talking, it's all kind of coming together for me that it really is about being here now.
Yeah. So that's why my business and my circles are, embody freedom now. Yeah.
Oh, I love that. Yeah,
Yeah.
beautiful.
It's so important.
Okay. Anything you want to share, Lou, with us?
I just want to say you two are amazing and I'm so grateful. Like
Well, thank you.
I love your questions and I love your invitation and your own kind of awareness and embodiment. I mean, this work is so important and we need as many people to know about it as possible.
That's right.
Um, yeah, that's what comes to mind. So I'm glad that you two are spreading the light that you are.
We are doing the best we can, and it's
Mm,
just getting better and better all the time. We are just so grateful to have you right here and right now, talking
Mhm.
with us because it really is about that present moment
mm,
and trying to be in that present moment more often and self-nurturing, all the things that we've talked about today. Just very, very grateful that we were able to that we found you. So
Yeah, the thing that's so interesting is we're passionate about community, and when we met Lou last week for the first time, and we immediately hit it off. But there's this resonance with community, and there are many of us out there that have this same passion to help the world. And clearly, Lou, you are one of them. And so that's our passion, is to bring a lot of us together and sync us up and network connect and help as many people as we can.
right,
mm.
And
Yeah.
help each other, working together and doing things together. I mean, you never know what kind of
Yeah.
collaborations might happen in the future with some of these amazing people like you, Lou. We hope so.
Thank you. Thank you. I always like to remind myself and others that it's my journey. That
Yeah.
doesn't mean that I don't like lots of other people with me in the journey, but I have to, because of my history, I
Mhm.
have to, because of my knowledge, I guess, because of my awareness and where I'm at, I have to remember that this is my journey on this planet
Yes.
and I need to make sure that I do the things that I'm supposed to do. And my healing work is one of those things, kind of my personal healing work and my work with others. It's all kind of interrelated.
right.
I
I
try
love
not to see it as I'm helping people in a way. I mean, that it's
Yeah,
it's really about a co-creation and a co-healing.
I
Yeah.
love that, and I think there's something that really struck me the other day, because I do come from that background that it's like, "Do, do, do. I need to do this. I need to do that." And so I've been learning more and more in my own walk that it's really actually not what I do, but it's who I become.
Mhm.
And so part of that healing journey is healing and becoming the person that you were meant to be on the planet and discovering it for yourself. No, and so that's that's so beautiful, and I'm still working on that because I do tend
Mhm.
to wanna, like, "Let's do this, let's do that."
Yeah.
You
There's
know?
no time like the present. One of
Yeah.
my favorite sayings is I don't know that it's the best saying for me. I think you
Mm.
have to, I mean, we're changing hearts one heart
Mm.
at a time, but we have to start right here.
Yeah.
Yes.
So,
Yes,
and
we do.
that's the big thing.
Yeah. And I don't know about you guys, but when I come across someone who's done their work, and they
Mm.
may not even need to say anything, but just being in their presence and their energy,
Mhm.
it's something is being communicated and there's something like, "I want that."
Mhm.
And they may not have said a word. So I think that's the direction where a lot of us are going as we continue to do our own healing work. And the healer must heal themselves first. And the
Yeah.
best healers in the world are the ones that are the wounded healers, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, if they do their work.
Right.
There's plenty of wounded healers that haven't done their work, and
True.
they're a
Good
little
point.
scary.
Yeah, good point.
Yeah.
Well, we hope that you can join us again sometime in the future. Keep us posted, and we will, include everything in the link. Do you have anything else
Thank
to say?
you. I'd love that.
It's been a great pleasure to be
Likewise.
here with you, and we're so grateful and hope that we can do it again sometime soon.
Thank you. I'd love that. Thanks, Jeff. Thanks, Christine.
Thank you so much,
Wonderful.
Lou.
Yeah.
All right, take care.
You
Bye
too.
bye.
Bye
Bye.
bye.